if you'd like to add a little bit of excitement to your life, once you feel confident, so I'd keep going with this until you feel, hey, I've got this, all right? And our pattern is 20 single crochet and 1 chain at the end, remember? So we've just done our 20 single crochet. I think to add excitement to my life, I'm now going to change a color. We're going to add this gold from Karen Simply Soft. So I'm going to find the end. Got it. It doesn't seem to be tangled. You've got 2 options on these yarn. You can either sometimes see a little tail coming out of the end, or find my unicorn pens in one, or find where it comes on the outside. If you pull from the outside, then you're going to have to probably slide this sleeve off, which is fine. We can do that. So I'm going to slide the sleeve off. Comes off quite easily. And there you go. All right, so let's look at how we can change a color. We're going to change the color at the end of the row because we want our Gryffindor scarf to go all the way across with the color. All right, so we're going to add gold now to our Gryffindor scarf. And the most seamless way to do it involves a bit of sewing in at the end. And I hate to break this to you, but if you are crocheting, there are very few projects where you don't have to sew anything in at the end. And those projects you rejoice. This is not one of them if you intend to put stripes in your Gryffindor scarf. So remember we did 20 single crochets, and now we want to change color to gold and put a gold stripe. I have not yet done my chain 1 for height. Instead of doing the chain 1 with the red, so typically I would yarn over, pull the red through, turn my work, and carry on. But we're not going to do that because we're changing color. So I'm going to let this go back through. Boop. And instead of yarning over with the red, we're going to yarn over with the yellow. All right? So what I'm going to do is get, let's be generous with ourselves, shall we? I'm going to get about 7 inches of a tail on my yellow. I'm going to place it, just physically lay it on the hook and tug it back because there's really nothing holding this on here. There's no knots or anything. So we're just going to lay it on there. You might have to hold it back with your hand. That's fine. I'm going to pull it through my red loop. Okay? Now you will notice that red loop is loose. I will pull, oh, that's the end of it. That won't help. There we go. I'm going to pull on the part that's still attached to the skein of yarn to snug it down. I'm also going to pull on both sides of the yellow and snug that down. All right? So this is what it looks like. Later on, we're just going to get a tapestry needle or a craft needle for yarn, and we'll sew this back into the yellow part so it'll be invisible. All right, so now your yellow is joined. I'm going to turn the work. So we've been turned over. Snug it down again. Snug everything down. Snug down the red. Snug down the yellow. And it's a little loosey-goosey, if you will, because there's no knots in anything holding it down right now. And that's okay. You're going to start the second loop from the hook. So 1, 2. I put it in there. I'm going to snug down my yellow a little bit again. Pull on the shorter one. Put my finger on top, just like I've been doing. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. You now are secure, okay? This bit over here, still loosey-goosey, not a problem though. All right, because you're affixed to that first single crochet. So we're gonna single crochet the 20 to go all the way across. So that's 1, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. I'm gonna go all the way to the end. And then we're gonna make a life choice about if we want to continue with the gold and make the stripe worth our while and make it fat, or if we're going to carry on with the red. This is a personal choice because this is your scarf, your Hogwarts scarf. You can make the stripes whatever thickness you want. Keep in mind, the more color changes you do, the more ends you have to weave in at the end. All right? So that could be a decision maker for you. You could do some fine stripes at just the ends of your scarf. So like the end points, you could stripe maybe 3 yellow stripes or 4 yellow stripes on each end. Or you could do like a color blocking and crochet like 10 inches of scarf red, switch to gold, 10 inches of scarf gold, 10 inches red, 10 inches gold, until you get it the length that you want your scarf. That would be the least amount of ends probably to weave in at the end. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so that we're going to visually inspect it. Does it look consistent all the way across? I think it does. We have just that little nugget of red there, which if I snug it down, blends in quite well, I think. All right, I have chosen, since I think gold is just as important in red as red, that we're gonna do a gold stripe here. So I'm gonna make it thicker and go higher. So that'd be going 1 up, turning the work, second from the hook, so 1, 2, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. All right, and you just keep going until you're ready to change again. If you decide, yep, that's as far as I want my red to go, then I would cut this yarn, the red, the one that's attached to the skein, I'd cut it about 6 inches out and give yourself some space to weave it in. You don't want to make a really short tail and then not be able to tie it off properly. let's pull this through. So this is our last single crochet. All right, we've gotten to the end of 2 rows of gold after 3 rows of red. I'm going to go ahead and cut the red. This is what we're working with so far. Let's zoom in. There we go. Now we're correct. And we're checking for consistency, remember? It looks very consistent. I'm going to go ahead and cut this red so I'll be able to weave it in later. So maybe about 6 inches. It's good to have some length for weaving in. All right. So I'm going to carry on with the yellow. And I think I'm going to carry on for a few rows because I'm really not a huge fan of weaving in. I avoid it. So I'm going to carry on, do a wider band of gold, and then we'll do a color change again. All right, I put a couple extra rows of gold, and I feel that I'm ready for some red again. So I have 20 single crochets of gold. I have not yet done my single chain stitch. I'm going to do that in red. So I haven't cut my yellow yet. It's still attached to the skein. I'm going to lay out my red, lay it on there, kind of pinch it down, pull it through, and then I'm going to turn my work. Snug everything down, get all this out of the way. Make sure I'm crocheting with the long part. Every once in a while you'll feel absolutely ridiculous because you'll start crocheting with this, the short end, and that doesn't work for very long. It runs out rather quickly because it's the short end. All right, so second loop from my hook. Now see how big this is? Because it's not tied to anything, so we need to snug it up again. I'm going to pull here and on the yellow. Just tug them snug. Not tight, just snug. I snugged it a little bit too much. Oops, popped off. It's all right, and pull it through. There we go. And just carrying on. All right, I feel confident that that's not going anywhere now. I can cut my yellow to about 6 inches. Maybe I should give you a bird's eye view again. Cut my yellow to about 6 inches. About here, I think. Get the yellow out of the way and carry on with the red. So this is your scarf, your pattern. You do the stripes as wide or as thin as you like. Just remember, when you're done with this, the more color here, let me back up again and go bird's eye view so you can see what we're doing so far. Let me make a big loop here so we don't lose it. All right, so far, just in this little 2 inches that we've done, we have how many loose ends that we need to tie in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right? That's 5 loose ends that we have to sew in so far. I'm tempted to do maybe 2 more thin rows, and then make the rows fatter and make them wider, if you will. So there's less sewing at the end. And I think we'll still have a lovely Gryffindor scarf. All right, so that's how you change color. I will get back with you on a follow-up in a day or so, and you can see how my pattern's coming along. I hope to see some pictures of how yours is coming along as well. Happy crocheting!